Welcome to a special edition of Crawford County Outdoors. I'm Dwayne Kohler, and we are at the Crawford County Conservation District today. In fact, we're officially social distancing, so we think we're okay to be without our masks for
I would say we
little
will
bit.
be.
Well, we're going to talk about some cool stuff that's going on here. We were here and we did, was it snowshoeing?
Snowshoeing.
Okay, I thought we did one other thing back, but anyways, this is a return visit here.
Yep.
But let me ask Kathy Uglow. We've talked before.
Mm-hmm.
So this year has just been nuts here.
It
What are you
has.
guys doing? Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit, well, it's very disappointing, first of all, let me say that, because I miss everyone so much. I love that up personal education, hands-on, we're out, we're touching things, we're doing things. And since that's kind of taboo, and I've been thrown into this situation where now I have to learn how to do things virtually, which is not as easy as you think it is. And particularly, you know, I've been out of college for a while. I haven't had really updates and equipment and microphones and all the things. So we're trying to improvise. We're trying to put things together. I think I'm coming along with that, and you'll see more and more things from us. And then my colleague Sydney has helped me a great deal because she has a really good phone, and she uses that phone to shoot some videos. So now we have our own little niche of videos.
Well, Sydney Holler, welcome to Crawford County Outdoors. Now, your first time here on Crawford.
Yes,
Kathy's a veteran. You're a first timer here, so we appreciate that. So talk a little bit about what your job is here, and I want to ask you about the videos and things that you work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you said, my name's Sydney Holler, and I'm the Resource Conservation Technician here at the Crawford County Conservation District. I take part in a lot of the permitting processes, and I work under the Pennsylvania Code, Chapters 102, Chapters 105, and make sure that erosion and sedimentation is not happening, and making sure we keep our waterways clean, and that we keep our nature a beautiful place. So as a result, I've kind of had the opportunity to start developing some videos to do some education projects and to help spread knowledge about what are these codes and what are the regulations and what is a wetland and what does erosion even mean. And so these type of opportunities, while we're in this very difficult time right now, it's really put, you know, virtual learning in the spotlight, and that's kind of something that I've been trying to work with, and that's why we're here.
Well, let's talk about some of the videos. They're awesome. I really have been enjoying following them.
Thank you.
I think the first one I saw was about the wetland, and kind of like understanding. Okay, I got a wetland on my property, and it's like, let's drain that, or what, you know.
Right.
Talk about it generically. Talk about the big picture, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So wetlands are something that a lot of people don't always know about. You know, they think, okay, it's wet there. That's about all their knowledge that they have of it. But there's actually a little bit more that goes into it. There's three different qualities that have to be met in order for something to be considered a wetland. It has to have the presence of water. That's an obvious one. But it's important to note that wetlands aren't always wet all of the time, and they only have to be wet a certain portion of the year, actually. In addition to that, there's also has to be a presence of hydrophytic vegetation and hydric soils. And so those are the three categories that make something, you know, to be considered a wetland.
So now, my favorite hobby, if I only could have one hobby, it would be pheasant hunting. That would be my favorite hobby. And I remember back when I was first kind of learning years ago, some of my old timer friends would say, "Oh, the birds, they won't get their feet wet," and it's like, that's not true. They actually like the swamp. They can hide like the transition from the field to the swamp, or from the woods to the swamp, or
exactly.
Whatever. That's the first place I go, because that's where they are. For whatever reason, they hide out there.
That is
right, and that's one thing.
People think swamps are a really bad thing, and we got to get rid of them all, right?
No, that's not true at all. And actually, in the video, I think I even said that wetlands are the link between land and water, and they are great hosts for biodiversity and all sorts of different creatures. You know, animals, plants, insects, all sorts of stuff across the board. And so they're a really valuable resource for a number of reasons. In addition, one problem that we run into a lot, and this, you know, comes into play with other parts of my job, is stormwater management. Wetlands are basically storage tanks for a lot of the runoff and the water resources that we have. And a lot of people, if we fill in those wetlands, they don't understand that there might be more flooding on their property because of that, because these are what manage those floodwaters.
And flooding is going to do more damage than that water is kind of stored there, right?
Absolutely. A lot of people find wetlands unappealing visually. They talk about, oh, bugs and whatnot. They don't want that, but they're very valuable and they can benefit all of us.
I know our deer hunters are going to tell you too that the wetland area, that's a pretty good spot the deer like to hide in. You know, So it's like, are they gonna feed there all day? Well, maybe not so much of their feeding, but that's a good spot for them to hide. They like when the hunters are coming around. They like to go into that spot. So, okay. Well, I love that video. That was super.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about some of the other ones that you worked on.
Yeah, well, another video I did had to do with erosion and sedimentation control because, like I said, that's a big part of my job is helping to prevent erosion and make sure when we're doing these projects that stuff isn't happening, because sediment is actually a pollutant. We think, oh, that's just dirt, that's not a bad thing, but it actually can be very harmful to our waterways. So that's another video if you're interested in learning about, okay, what do these words actually mean, that, it's a good thing to check out. But in addition to that, Kathy and I have also been working together to talk about some other environmental programs that we can do, that you can do at home, different activities that are fun to do with your family and friends or just on your own. And so there's some other type of videos that we can kind of, work on.
So I know I'm thinking it was 2 years ago, maybe we did a trip on French Creek. We took some cameras along or whatever, and it was in June, and it was like 2 or 3 days after a big storm. And the creek was just like, it was like mud,
Yeah.
And now that's nobody's fault. I mean, that's
It's a natural process.
Is there anything that we all property owners, is there anything that we can do to kind of help that?
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you two things. One, what's bad for the fish and for the what's bad about having that? And two, what can I do about it? What can I do to help that?
Absolutely. Well, like I said earlier, sedimentation is actually a way of pollution. Like I said, we don't think that dirt is a bad thing necessarily, but when it gets into our waterways in increased amounts, that's when it causes damage, and the fish are affected, and all of those aquatic organisms are affected by this seemingly harmless activity. But as landowners and as property owners, something that we can do is developing an ENS plan. If you plan on disturbing any earth, or you're planning a project that requires some earth disturbance, call your local conservation district and see what things need to be implemented in order to prevent these projects. With an ENS plan, like I said, the goal of that is to prevent that sediment from getting into the waterways. And so an ENS plan can help prevent that. Like I said, you can use different methods. One common thing that we do is making sure we seed and mulch and stabilize the ground after it's been disturbed. So because grass can kind of hold the land in place, and that's very, very helpful for preventing that erosion and sedimentation from happening.
Like rather quickly after the land's been dug up for
Yes.
a building project
Yeah,
or whatever?
you want to stabilize it as quickly as you possibly can.
Okay. I notice along a lot of construction sites I see little like, I don't know what they're made out of, but like little kind of
Fences or?
like barricade things that almost look like sandbags or in a black. Is that what that's for? Is
Well,
that
you might be thinking about silt sock, which is a sediment barrier. And so basically, if you put it around the perimeter of the area that you're going to be disturbing,
if you're
it
on
helps.
the top of a little hill, the rain's going to wash it down, right? Is that-
Exactly, you
okay.
got it.
Okay. If you're on the bottom of a hill, is that not an issue
Well,
necessarily? Or?
If you have to think about the slope and the site that's in question specifically, you want to put it where that sediment could possibly run off to, and so that sock can catch the sediment that is running off and prevent it from getting into those waterways.
If I want stuff to grow on my property, I don't want all the dirt washing away, right?
Exactly, you got it.
Okay. Well, Kathy, now when we talked before, you were doing some fun projects. Let's talk about the ones that are going on now. What's going on now?
What's going on now? We are taking a lot of our normal programming. That everything's not always new. You might see every year a beaver program, or you might see every year a butterfly program. So taking those ones that are in existence and removing our audience from it, unfortunately, and putting that into video. And a lot of the ones Sydney and I have attempted are just very small projects. I took my entire painting fish on old pallets, repurposing pallets, and we made it into 3 minutes or something?
Yeah.
Just very short snippets. But hey, you can do that, and a large portion of some of these are people actually doing the activities. So they're not really missing that much. So they can look forward to things like probably painting rock cottages. I'll do that one.
Okay.
Probably some soil painting ones. I'm looking to get a GoPro, which I'm hoping helps me do some more walk kind of programs.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So we can look forward to that. And then I'm also trying to use the Zoom meeting situation to put some of our older, our PowerPoints our favorite ones on those.
Now, what are some of those things sitting beside you there?
Well, this is one thing that we may do also too. These are bug jars, and one of the best things you can do right now is just get yourself outside. So whether you're looking at birds, whether you're watching rabbits, whether you're picking flowers or berries or collecting insects, these are a great thing for kids, especially for fireflies and just any kind of different bugs. And you'd be surprised how fast you can find a few bugs if you want. Seriously, there was one crawling on me. I hope no one saw me trying to. And so these bug kits, and we actually have these here, and you don't need a bug kit. You can just take a jar. You remember that. We'd take a mason jar even, back when you're allowed to have glass outside. And without running in, I know a lot of people don't. But anyway, these are plastic. These kits are cool, and they're really fun. And we actually have a box of them here. So if anyone wants to give me a call, they're $3, and it's a nice activity. And then you can take it further by catching some bugs. And then you can take it further by identifying those bugs. So it's a lot of fun learning. So there's that. And I'm working on, and I'm probably going to do a video when this guy is born. This is my monarch larva that got into chrysalis, and that's a little bit of milkweed. He doesn't really need it right now because he's resting.
Wow.
But he will be born, my estimation is a few days, because he's been in that chrysalis for about 6 days.
Wow.
So
how about that?
they vary. But that's another fun thing you can do. Go butterfly watching, catch larvae, raise them. I know some people that raise them, and we release them. It's very fun.
That? Well, I've noticed going to the sporting goods store. Now this is maybe slightly off the topic. There's like no kayaks for sale. There's no bikes for sale. They're just all going out the door. I think as soon as they get them in, they're out the door. People are this, what's been going on has really got people going outside.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
To me, that's a great.
It is a great thing.
I think that's a great thing.
And I know my son and daughter-in-law have kayaks, and they can take the children right with them, and they have a good time. The only cautionary note is make sure you don't just grab one at the sporting goods store, race out there, and not have any kind of training or preparation, or find out the safety associated with that
Go
kind
back
of
on
thing.
YouTube. We did a kayaking 101 show here. Oh boy, that's probably been 5 years ago or something like that. But you can find it on YouTube. So go back.
Excellent.
So go back and look
That's
up Crawford County Outdoors.
Yep, that's
kayak.
the only cautionary.
Kayak
Other than that,
101,
enjoy. My goodness.
And I've heard also that the campers, there's no campers for sale. They're just like going, motorhomes and campers. They're just like sold out everywhere. And
Wow.
Yeah.
So I mean that's
Whole
I
different
guess that's a
summer.
good thing. I guess on the one hand, I wouldn't be real crazy about getting on an airplane and going someplace on a
No,
vacation
probably
right
neither.
now. That would make me a little uncomfortable. And
No, I'm not going very far. But the interesting thing is you can do so much in your own backyard. Even I have less than an acre. There's a ton of things you can do there. Everything from, my goodness, we have a list a mile long of things you can do there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just animal oriented, but throw down a blanket, look at the clouds. Find the stuff. Remember we used to do that when we were little kids,
heck
right?
yeah.
Or you have a sandbox.
Hey,
you
last
make a
week
tire
I was watching the
swing.
meteor shower last week. That was actually pretty cool.
Isn't that fun?
That was
and look
neat.
for constellations and identify those. All kinds of fun
And
things.
there's some space shuttle thing. I've been seeing that thing flying over.
Yeah.
Several times actually. Seeing that thing flying over. That's kind of fun to do at
Yeah.
night.
That is fun.
You really don't need any fancy equipment to enjoy
No.
nature. You just have to
Right.
go out and do it,
Right. Very simple. Look for rocks. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things. I'm a big rock hound.
Well, why don't we take a look at some of the great videos you guys have done? And so stay tuned. Check out the videos.
When you hear the word wetland, what comes to mind? Do you picture a lot of water? What about cattails or lily pads? Maybe you even see a duck or two. But do you know what technically makes something a wetland? If you don't, you're not alone. In this video, we'll learn about how wetlands can be identified and why they're such an important part of our ecosystems. In order to be considered a wetland, the area in question will have to meet 3 criteria. Number 1 is hydric soils. According to the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service, soils are considered to be hydric when they are formed under conditions of saturation, flooding, or ponding long enough during the growing season to develop anaerobic conditions. Anaerobic means without oxygen. Hydric soils that are present in Crawford County include the following listed on your screen. The second criteria includes hydrophytic vegetation, or plants that have adapted to living in wet environments. One of the most iconic wetland species are cattails. That's right, those brown corn dog looking things. However, not all wetlands will have cattails. There are many plant species both above and below the water which can indicate the presence of a wetland. Some examples include water lilies, duckweed, coontail, and red twig dogwood. The third criteria is the presence of water during the growing season. Swamps and marshes make for obvious wetlands because, well, they're pretty much always wet. However, it's very important to know that some wetlands are actually dry during part of the year. So just because an area seems to dry up for a while doesn't mean that that area isn't still a wetland. Now that you know a little bit about what makes an area a wetland, let's discuss why they're so important. Wetlands can host an incredible number of species, varying from insects to plants to fish to mammals and many, many things in between. This allows for exceptional levels of biodiversity that can help keep our ecosystems in equilibrium. Wetlands are also important because they can provide flood control, improve water quality, and help minimize erosion. Unfortunately, as a result of years and years of development and disturbance, many wetlands have been filled in or otherwise removed. The areas where this has happened now often deal with major flooding issues as the critical wetland features that once managed the water are no longer existing. If you're planning a project that would include any wetland disturbance, a permit will likely be required. Please contact your local conservation district, the Department of Environmental Protection, or the Army Corps of Engineers to learn more about what regulations are in place and what permits will be necessary. Wetlands are the link between land and water. These invaluable ecosystems benefit all sorts of species, including us humans. So, if you see a wetland, feel free to admire the biodiversity it sustains, but do your best to not disturb it. Thanks for watching, everyone!
Let's say you have a construction project planned for this summer. You've bought the material, you've thought about the location, and you're excited to get started as soon as the weather's nice. But is there something you might be missing? An ENS plan is an important piece for projects like this that sometimes gets overlooked. So you might be asking, what is an ENS plan, and do I actually need one? But before we learn about ENS plans, it's important to understand what ENS actually stands for. The E stands for erosion, which occurs when the Earth's surface is worn away by natural processes such as wind, water, ice, or gravity. Water is the most powerful culprit of erosion, and it is also the factor most influenced by human activity. The S stands for sedimentation, which is when eroded soil particles are transported during water flow, only to settle and be deposited as sediment away from its original source. Erosion and sedimentation are both natural processes, however, they can be significantly accelerated by human activity. When we build a new house, install a new parking lot, dig a pond, etc., this can result in a lot of vegetation being removed and a lot of soil being exposed. When this happens, erosion and sedimentation is going to occur more rapidly than it would at the natural rate. If these accelerated processes are not controlled, sediment pollution will occur and cause both environmental and economic damage. So, how do we keep this from happening while still continuing with our development goals? This is where an ENS plan comes in. While the specifics are outlined in the PA Code, Title 25, Chapter 102, and in the Department of Environmental Protection's Erosion and Sediment Pollution Control Program Manual, the main goal of an ENS plan is to help implement and maintain ENS best management practices, otherwise known as BMPs, with consideration to the specific site and project in question. When creating an ENS plan, it is important to consider what BMPs will be best suited at certain locations in your project. Some site access BMPs include rock construction entrances, water bars, and rumble pads, among others. When it comes to containing sediment barriers and filters are very important to ensure it does not leave the site. Some examples include compost filter socks, silt fence, and inlet filter bags. It is also important to stabilize any disturbed areas once the project is completed. A site is considered permanently stabilized when it has achieved 70% uniform vegetative coverage. Please note that these are only a few examples of BMPs, and many more are included in the DEP's Erosion and Sedimentation Pollution Control Manual. While an ENS plan only needs to be submitted and approved by your local PA Conservation District when the total earth disturbance is 5,000 square feet or more, it is required the ENS BMPs be implemented and maintained for all earth disturbance projects in order to prevent additional sediment from entering our waterways. Please keep in mind that this is only a brief explanation of ENS plans. Depending on the project, permitting may also be required. For additional information or questions you may have about ENS, check out Title 25, Chapter 102 of the PA Code, DEP's Erosion and Sedimentation Pollution Control Manual, or contact your county's conservation district. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Hey Kathy, it's such a nice day out, isn't it?
Hey Sydney, how you doing?
I'm doing great. What are you working on today?
Well, you must be on a break.
I am.
That's unusual, actually. Well, I decided that it'd be a good idea to get out some of my old pallet wood because we do a lot of repurposing programs here at the Nature Center. Usually, we haven't had an opportunity this year, so I thought I would get out some of that old wood. And this is a program we did where we painted fish on these, so you can actually hang them on your deck, you can hang them on a little post outside, you could probably even do it in a bathroom or down your staircase or whatever you want to do. But I got to thinking that, have you been getting a lot of deliveries at your house?
I have actually. I've been doing a lot more online shopping with the current circumstances.
Yeah, me too. And they cannot find me. They just cannot find me. I have little itty bitty numbers on my mailbox, but other than that, I guess, you know, I don't have any of those big numbers. So what I thought was, I would get one of these pallet pieces, and I kind of like the way they're shaped. Even though I'm not doing a fish, I really like that shape. So I painted on my house number, and then a few little daisies because they're easy. Not a lot of talent here, but yeah, so I'm going to coat it with polyurethane, and then I'll hang it on my house up there, and it should make it a lot easier for them to find my house with the deliveries.
That's awesome. That's a really good idea, and I think it's a great way to reuse something so it doesn't end up going to a landfill. And it looks really cute.
Well, thanks. Maybe when you get finished with work today, you could try one out and take it home.
I will. We have some pallets around the farm, so I'll have to dig one of those out, and maybe I'll make one of these just like you.
Excellent.
All right, Kathy. Well, I guess it's time to get back to work, so I'll see you back in the office.
Yeah, it is. I'm all finished. I'm going to pack it up too.
Sounds good.
Yep,
See
you
ya.
in there.
Hey, Kathy. What are you up to today?
Sydney, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm out for a little bit of a break. What are you working on?
Well, you're not going to believe this. It's so hot today.
It is.
But I'm reusing this stuff because we had so much of this cardboard and recycling. So I thought I was going to get a head start on something. I've never wanted to buy gifts ahead of time, but I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make some sleds out of these.
Perfect.
How about that? Even though it's not snowing now. Here's the first one I did. And I'll tell you what, these things are easy to transport, they're easy to store, and the only thing that you need is some duct tape.
That's awesome.
And some cardboard.
It looks very compact.
They're really cool and they work great.
Awesome.
The kids can sit there. And from what I understand, the kids that made some at our last program really enjoyed them. In fact, one of the children went up to Mount Pleasant and they entered a cardboard duck race contest.
That's awesome.
And had made another construction at home after this, so it's really fun. So you can see, all you do is cut it into whatever you feel is the right shape for your sled. I like this because I can bend it there and they can hold on to it. The main thing I have to worry about when I'm cutting my duct tape and starting is to apply it on everything. All the edges, on the insides, around there. You can see that everything is reinforced and really covered. So you're gonna get a lot of use out of this, believe it or not.
I bet. It looks like it would hopefully hold together pretty well, and hopefully you'll be able to get some speed for the people who do use them.
I think so. So anyway, yeah, so you can get it done, put it in your closet, and you don't have to worry about dragging sleds out of the attic or out of the basement or out of the shed. So that's what I'm doing this fine day, Miss Sydney.
Awesome. I think it's a great day to be out here building a sled. So
well, it's a good use for this cardboard, I think.
I think so too. It's definitely good to be able to reuse some of the things we have at home. So great idea, Kathy.
Yep, you'll have to pass it along to your family.
I will, absolutely. All right. Well, I guess I better get back to work.
All right, I'm going to finish this sled.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Hey, Kathy, what are you doing?
Sydney, what's up?
I'm just taking a quick break from the office. Looks like you're writing something.
I am. I had to get away from the computer screen.
I know how that is.
My goodness. So I was just checking out some of the hakus that we've had in the past we used to do programs on.
That's really cool.
And I was taking some time to just jot down a few to just relax and, like I said, get away from the webinars, huh?
Yeah, would you mind reading me one?
I would love to. Do you want to hear one of mine, or would you rather hear one from someone else?
Let's hear one from someone else to start with.
Okay. Well, you remember what these are. You probably wrote them before, right? They have 3 lines, so it's about the syllables in the line. There's 5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the second, and 5 in the third. And I'll show you how easy this is. This is from my friend Lillian, who's now in senior high school. But when she wrote this, she was probably 3.5, 4 feet tall. But it's called Earth's Dirt, okay? It supports the trees. Add water and you get mud. It is marvelous. That's like my favorite haiku.
That's so nice. Good job, Lillian.
Good job, Lillian is right. I wish I were that talented.
Me too.
I'll see if I can find this one that I wrote. This is about a nature-centered tree, and it's odd that we're standing here because it used to be over there, and now it's gone because it had to be cut down.
Aww.
And before it was cut down, it had a big red X on it.
Okay.
Yeah, which was so sad. So we're writing haikus, and here's my haiku about the nature tree with the X on it. Nature-centered tree. The tree has an X. End of the trail, faithful friend. Your might stays with me.
Oh, that is so nice. I think that's a very nice tribute to that tree.
Yeah, they can be pretty crazy or serious. A lot of times they're about nature, so that's kind of why I like to do it.
Yeah, it sounds like there can be a lot of different ideas that you could write about, so that's really interesting.
There is. I think on our website we have a copy of our nature haiku, and if we don't, we can put it up.
Okay, I'll have to check it
I'm
out.
pretty sure we do.
Thanks,
Okay.
Kathy.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you later.
Yep, see ya.
Yep.
Hey, Kathy, what are you working on?
Sydney, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are
Nice
you?
to see you this afternoon.
Yeah, you too.
Well, you caught me again.
Of
we
course.
have the best luck with that.
Absolutely, we do.
Well, what I'm working on is, again, some repurposing work. People give me just tons and tons of magazines and calendars. So I thought that a really good way to use these calendars over is to make envelopes out of them.
Oh, that is a
And
great
at first
idea.
I thought, geez, that's pretty hard. And I started looking, how do you do that? Well, gee, it's really easy. First of all, you take an envelope the size you want it, and you take it apart. And then you have a template. So if I decide to make this box into an envelope, kind of like, this is one of my favorite ones.
Wow, that one's really nice.
I love that one. Or if you're a bird person, a
Awesome.
bird one. Let's see, how about...
I like this owl one. That's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat. That's actually just made out of something out of a magazine.
Oh, very nice.
And this is a calendar one, as you can see. And I know we have some bald eagle fans out there.
Oh, definitely.
So they're great because you can make these little cards to make a little note and that to put in your envelope. So you can make the whole thing. In fact, it was really neat. We had a workshop, and one woman actually called me on the phone and said, I will never buy another card as long as I live. I made that card in that workshop. I gave it to my friend, and she called me and told me how much she loved it. And she said, it did something special for me. I'm never buying another card. So I thought, wow, that's really cool. So I continue to do this when we have the opportunity.
That is a great idea. It seems like an excellent way to repurpose these old calendars that we can't use.
So I'm gonna take that thing. I'm gonna look at this and where I want them, because I'll tell you what, I did have a snafu. If you're not careful, I went to all the trouble to make this beautiful hummingbird, but guess what?
Oh,
It's
no.
upside down. So you really kind of have to watch when you place it. But other than that, I just seal the edges with some two-sided tape. You can use tacky glue or other glue if you want, even glue stick. But the two-sided tape really seems to hold it well. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna make this little fox for my son.
Awesome. That's a great idea. I'll have
Thank
to
you.
see about making some of those for my family and for my family and friends' birthdays or something. So
Yeah, do
thanks.
you have any coming up?
I do. There's a couple we have this month, so
Good.
that'll
Well,
be a
give
great
it a
idea.
try and let me know how they like them.
I will definitely do that, Kathy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great afternoon.
Yeah, we'll see you back in the office.
Okay. So I'm making the little fox envelope that I talked about. I'm simply putting that template down. Remember when I said I was taking apart an actual envelope to get my template? And then I laid it on here over the fox. And I'll show you how that turned out. So I'm just cutting around here like this. And doesn't take very long before you have something really fun. So let's see what happened. There he is. So we're going to fold up the edges. We're going to recreate that envelope. We're going to fold the sides up, and we're going to fold this part down. Now, remember when I said you have to be careful which way? I want to make sure he goes that way. So I am going to pull the bottom up, and I'm going to glue these together with either glue or this is what I have, which is that two-sided tape. I like this a lot. It's easy to use and it really stays put. So we just take it like that and fold the side back over. And if you want to reinforce this here a little bit, and there's our envelope. And I can put a little note in there and give it to my son. Ta-da! Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kathy Uglow, and I work at the Woodcock Creek Nature Center for the Crawford County Conservation District, and I am their environmental educator. Usually throughout the year, we offer all kinds of programs, whether they're outdoors or indoors, on a variety of topics. Maybe it has to do with nature or environment, or maybe a farm. They just vary, and we miss doing that, but that's okay. Right now I'm at home, I'm in my backyard, and I have something fun that we can do. Let me just bring up some slides that I have here. Yeah, it's called Snap a Photo, Nature Journaling. And it kind of got started with something I like to call Picture of the Day, which maybe is boring to some people, but to me it was fantastic. I would go out for a walk on my lunch hour, and I would just take photos. Oh, what's that? I would take photos of anything I liked. And that could be a rock, an insect, a bird. Anyway, I would then put it on my wallpaper, and every time I would use my phone, it would remind me of that wonderful time I had outside. And it was so relaxing. So that I have something else you're gonna like too. Once in a while, we do a program called Snap and Chat, where we go out and we just take pictures of things we like. I have seen pictures of animal holes, tree bark, fungus from underneath it, cool mushrooms, all kinds of things. But basically, you take stuff that pleases you. You're not trying to get a photography award for this. So that's what I was talking about. Relax, enjoy, and snap away. You can do the activity by yourself, or you can choose to share the fun with your family. Children love to photo journal and do this snap and chat. The main thing is that you enjoy your time outside. You deserve it. See what captures your attention. Stop and take a breath and look at the clouds. Use your senses, feel that little breeze, smell those fragrant flowers, check out all the berries along where you're walking. Remember, you do not have to have perfect photos. We've already talked about that. It just has to please you. So you may choose to show your photos to others and talk about it or not. This is all about us today, guys. What do I want to take pictures of? Believe it or not, you'll know it when you see it. Take pictures as long as you want to. Go along a trail, visit a creek. I always love to visit the creek because then I get the added benefit of all that water running over the rocks. Somehow it just puts me into a Zen moment. You may find interesting insects or animals. I saw a really cool walking stick. Don't forget to look up. Remember when you used to lie on the ground and just, look, there goes a rabbit across the sky, Mom. So go to your favorite spots, see what looks great. Surprised us, sometimes things just come to you. You don't even have to move an inch. For example, this guy on Earth's Trail, big long black rat snake. I thought he might be a black racer, but he doesn't. His scales were not shiny like a racer, and he had that mottly kind of tannish whitish to him too. Now this little gentleman or lady was in my yard, in fact in my driveway, and it's a wonder that she didn't have a catastrophe happen, but she hopped over near the house and you can see her there by the drain pipe. This little creature was probably 3.5 inches big, tiniest little rabbit I ever saw. So of course I had to get my phone to get down there, and she or he let me take a photo. And I will enjoy that photo as long as I have it. Or lucky me, I have a monarch larva that I was able to photograph. These are some flowers I found out front in my yard. I just thought they were such a pretty color. Now here's some of these little mushroomy fungus guys that live in the backyard, and as you can see, he's out of focus, but that's okay, because it just has to please me, and every time I see that, I think of him. It looked like a little hobbit village or something. Ah, and the berries in an undisclosed location by my driveway. I like trees. I like trees because if you think of a tree, think about being young and they said, draw a tree, and you made a little thing with a little circle on it, and that was your tree. But the more I got to painting, I found that, gee, my trees didn't look like real trees. So I went outside and I started actually sketching what I saw. And they have so much character, and their limbs go up and down and around, and they don't all just look like those perfect little things you have in your head. So they have a lot of character. They're a lot of fun to photograph. As I said, I particularly love being by water. You can get some great photos by water, or you may even see some frogs or something. So did you enjoy my quirky photo journal? That's certainly one of a kind, isn't it? And yours will be too. But that's what's awesome about it. So grab your phone, grab your camera, whichever you prefer. I'm thinking phones, they take pretty good pictures now. And see what's waiting for you outside. Do it today. Snap away. Soon you'll have your own nature photo journal. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you soon.
So Dwayne, if you really want to find out more stuff, go to our website, go to our Facebook, go to our YouTube.
Yep. We post all
And
of
we
our
invite
videos there.
everyone to
Now, can we
to
check
do
out those
that.
whole videos there? We're going to just look at, we
Yes.
just looked at some parts of them there. but
Yeah,
we can-
you can absolutely check out full-length videos there on our Facebook page, and there's some on our website as well.
Okay, so
Great.
spell them out. How do they find, is it Crawford County Conservation District?
Yep, on Facebook you can find us by typing in Crawford County Conservation District. Our little page should pop up right there, and then our website is crawfordconservation.com.
CrawfordConservation.com.
Crawford Conservation.
Okay.
It's long, but it's great.
Well, thank you guys for what you're doing. That's
Thank
super.
you.
That's
Yeah,
super.
Thank you for talking with
Yeah,
us.
thank you for having us.
Okay, Chef Lisa is working on a recipe for us today, so I can't wait to get to see that. That's always one of my favorite parts of the
Yum.
show, so I can't wait to check that out. Joining us now, Chef Lisa Beck, for the most popular part of the show. That always goes that way. So,
Yes.
Lisa, what do you have for today?
Well, I have a recipe called cracked chicken.
Ooh,
It's really good.
okay.
Okay. So it's pretty simple. We use bacon.
Well, how does anything with bacon is going to be?
Bacon.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to start off with. I have about 4 pieces of thick bacon cut up.
Okay.
So we're going to cook that and then get that out of there, and then we're going to throw our chicken in. And you can do 3 or 4 chicken breasts depending on the size, and I slice them in half and I pound them. So they're about 1/4 of an inch thick, and then they're going to brown up quickly. So we'll start off with our bacon and we'll cook that. We'll take it out, then we'll put our chicken in, season it, and brown it. Okay? Sound good?
Okay.
All right, so let's start with the bacon. It's going to take a minute to start warming up there. Oh, I hear it.
That little bacon sizzle noise is a very popular noise.
Popular noise. It's a great smell. I like to cook bacon sometimes in the oven. I have a special grill pan that I put it in
my
there.
house, yes.
And it's not as messy, and it just has great flavor, and it makes the whole house smell really good. Not as much cleanup. I think I like it because of that. Ooh, bacon sizzle. So we want to brown this.
So then you're spreading it all out, so each little piece of the bacon's kind of getting
Surface area.
exposed to,
Yes.
to the hot surface. Okay.
Yes, surface area. Because my pan's not as hot as I would like it to be at the moment, but it will get there. You can hear it. So we'll cook that up, like I said. Then we're going to season, we'll take it out, we'll season the chicken. And I have salt and pepper, just to your taste, to your liking. And then we're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. And you can use a smoky paprika.
Okay.
I have a sweet. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll season it, we'll brown them up. And then what I have over here, and we're going to use this once we've browned our chicken and put it in the pan. This right here is 4 ounces of cream cheese. I use the light, and I put a 1.5 teaspoons of dry ranch dressing.
Ah, wow.
And then we're going to spread that over the chicken. That's really, I think, the clincher that makes this so good and addictive, hence the name. And we have about 1.5 cups of cheddar, and I used white and yellow because that's just what I have, but you could use any kind of cheddar that you want. I think a really good sharp cheddar would be good too, but this is just a mild. And we're cooking here, so that's good.
So the bacon's going to give you a little surface so something doesn't stick, right?
Right. Oh yeah. We are going to use, this isn't that, if you like keto recipes, I would say this is probably more keto than anything. I know a lot of people are into that. As far as I'm concerned, it's probably not the healthiest recipe because I don't do keto, but I look at cholesterol. And we're going to use a little butter and a little oil as well. But to each his own. It's a great recipe. You're not going to eat this every single day, so I think you're okay. But if you're a keto person, this is a recipe for you, and I know a lot of people are, so.
Well, a lot of folks in Crawford County like to get out there stomping around in the outdoors. So
That's right.
They're gonna need some.
That's right. They're going to need some good food.
Yeah.
And this is good food.
Do you have a particular favorite kind of bacon, like the smoked kind or the regular thick cut kind? Or?
Well, I typically use thick cut for baking. And I'm not baking, but I mean for cooking, for recipes. It doesn't matter. In this house, bacon doesn't last long. It doesn't matter. Thin cut, pre-cooked, thick cut, hickory smoked. They'll eat it, and they'll eat it all.
That seems to happen at most houses that I know of anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the same in my house.
It's good stuff. It's starting to get there. And it's the keto thing. I mean, people are eating a lot of bacon. My family does. I eat a little bit, but they eat a lot. Probably. I don't know if that's a good thing, but they love it, and it goes well with everything. Definitely makes your house smell good. And keeps the dog by your side. That's we're turned all the way up.
So, you have one dog at your house. We have 3 at our house. So it's like all
I'd
3
be-
of them are swarming.
I'd be tripping over them as I cooked.
Yeah.
Because I trip over one. So.
So you're not going for like crispy snapping bacon kind of on this particular part, right? This is going to be...
No, it actually is. It's just taken us a little bit longer to do. But we can actually finish it another way. So why don't we take it out, because it is taking us a little bit longer. I can finish it in the microwave, but typically when you're doing it on your stove, which makes it a little different, you want your bacon to be crispy, okay? And it's getting there, but we want to continue with the recipe. So what we'll do is we'll pull it out. We can finish it in the microwave. And our oven, or our pan will continue to get hot, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to finish this in the microwave just for time's sake. Okay, so hopefully this is keeps it warm here. We're going to put a piece of chicken in, a couple pieces if I can get it in there. That's a good sizzle sound. And we'll just do 3. They'll fit nicely in that pan. Sometimes when I make this, I have to do a couple separate pans, because when you flatten the chicken out like this, it takes up a lot of space. Unless you have a really big glass pan, that would work as well. So I'm going to season. I'm not going to use all the seasoning because I am going to finish those other 2 when we're done here. But you know, this is television.
Yeah.
So I'm going to season with the paprika, the garlic powder, pepper, and salt.
I don't think the folks can see, but Lulu is right beside me here, and she's focused, very focused on what you're doing, Lisa.
She is focused. Okay.
Maybe one might fall. Maybe that's
Maybe.
why. Yeah.
They do want you to put a tablespoon of butter in there. So
Okay.
we're going to put that in there and let that melt. I'm not going to use the oil. I think we had enough fat in there. And we'll let that brown on both sides. You're not cooking it. You're just,
Okay.
you know, you're browning them up. And I'm going to stick that in the microwave while we're waiting. And that'll finish up that bacon for us. Let's see. Move that butter around in there. And we do have our oven preheating at 400, which is important because this is going to go into the oven to finish. So I'm going to turn it over. Could be a little browner, but again, for time's sake.
Definitely started.
Yeah, it's for sure. So I'm going to season this side as well.
Okay. Now, what was that blend again?
This is half a teaspoon of paprika and half a teaspoon of garlic powder,
Okay.
not salt, because we have the salt here.
A little bit of pepper.
A little bit of pepper. And I am a fan of pounding out chicken. I like that. I like to tenderize it that way. It cooks up so much faster, and I'm always in a hurry. So, you know, when you come home and you happen to have the chicken breast, you remember to defrost it, which is a big thing to remember, because when you don't, that takes a little bit longer. And then I like to slice them and pound them out. I feel it's a better portion size of chicken.
Okay.
And cooks faster. You know, like I said, we're always in a hurry for a ball game or, you know, some place we all have to be, and it cooks faster that way, and it tenderizes the meat as well. Oh, that looks good. Let me check that bacon.
You hear it sizzling over
Yeah,
there.
I think I'm going to put it on a little longer, and I'm going to put a piece of paper towel over the top, just so it doesn't mess up the
So it
microwave.
gets all over the microwave if you don't,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yep. Ooh, sounds like our oven's ready. I'm gonna turn it over and let those seasons sear in there.
Wow.
Yeah. And then once you've gotten this cooked on the outside, we're gonna spray the pan. We'll put it in the pan. We'll add our other things to it. And then it's gonna go in the oven for about 15-25 minutes. And then you want the cheese to melt. You're gonna put the bacon on it. And then we'll garnish it with a little bit of extra bacon and some green onions and parsley right from the garden.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to spray that pan, we're almost to the point where we're going to put that in there. Hopefully there's a little left in there. Oh, good.
That's the fancy olive oil spray.
The fancy olive oil spray. Yes. Okay, we're going to put them in there. See, they'll fit better once you cook them too, because pounding them out really does gives them a larger surface area. They're wider. Just turn that down a little bit. And let's check this bacon. Still going. We'll add some, we're going to add this on there. So this is our cream cheese and ranch dressing mix. We're just going to kind of spread it on there. If you let this get to room temperature, it makes it a little bit more spreadable. It's a little messy, but it's well worth it.
Yeah.
It's warm, so it should sit on there. Spread nice and turn out, but being left-handed and all.
Oh, you have a right-handed knife. That's what the problem
Yeah,
is.
that's a problem. We'll save the rest for our other pieces that we're going to do here in a minute.
It's looking great already.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep spreading a little bit while you're...
Yeah, sure.
See, it is the right-handed knife.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Plus, I think the cream cheese is warming up a little bit.
Yeah, it's softening up because it's
Been sitting on that chicken.
sitting on that chicken. So we're going to put...
Or it could be my super great chicken cheese spreading skills.
Which you do have. So we're not going to put, this is a little warm, so we're not going to put all of the bacon on. We're only going to put about half. This plate's a little warm from the microwave. And we're going to put a little on the top when we're done. So just want to take a little bit. Probably going to need this hand. Just because it kind of got smushed together there. Just a little bit of bacon on each. More.
Lisa, you've got me fascinated here. This is...
This is a really good recipe.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put some cheese on there. And then this is going to go into a preheated oven at 400 for about 15-25 minutes to finish it up.
Want me to put it in?
Yes, please.
Whoa. Okay, here we go.
Great.
I can't wait.
Me too.
Lisa, I just heard a timer. What does that mean?
That means the cracked chicken is ready to
It's
be.
time for crack.
Ready to
Yay.
eat. Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to use these camo oven mitts to
Yes, those are great.
Blue, don't stick your nose on the oven here. It's hot.
It is hot. I'll close it for you.
Oh,
Wait,
wow. Look at that. Holy
Yeah.
mackerel. Look at that.
Yeah, so we're going to garnish it
Whoa.
with a little more bacon. Just a little. Okay. And a little fresh parsley from the garden. And there's some scallion or green onions in here too. So let's get some green onions on that. Doesn't that look nice?
That's amazing.
Okay, so now we get to try it.
What is this my favorite part of the show?
I don't know, Dwayne. So I'll cut one of these up for us. How do we do this one? Whoops. I'm going to take the good stuff off. Whoops, I should have got us a spatula. Ooh, careful, careful. Now this, as you can see, is smoking. I'll make sure all the good things that fell off get back on there.
Yeah, you don't want to lose the special.
Okay. Look, do you need a knife?
I think I got it with my fork here. I have to remember not to burn my mouth off, right? You always tell me that.
I always tell you that because this is, we pull it right out of the oven and it's smoking. This one especially.
I'm gonna blow it a little bit cooler.
Yeah, you should.
Oh,
That's really good.
that is wonderful. So cracked chicken.
That ranch and the cream cheese. And the bacon.
Phenomenal.
And the cheese.
You have to try this one.
This is a keeper. You want to impress your family. You're going to have guests come over for dinner. This is an easy recipe, and it's super delicious. I recommend this. This is a good one.
Well, Lisa, thank you as always. My favorite part of the show. And thank you to the folks at home for joining us today on Crawford County Outdoors. And we'll talk to you next time. And I'm having more cracked chicken.
Yeah.